Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we have some huge new leaks for the Spider-Man 2 game. But before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button and comment below what you want to see in the game. Thank you to Iron Knight for sending me this leak. Now this was posted on 4chan as always with random leaks. Take this all with a grain of salt. Parts of this leak seem believable, but some don't make much sense. Obviously, there's potentially some spoilers, so anyways, let's get started. First off, at the beginning of the game, Harry comes back into town seemingly back to normal and cured. Peter and MJ are happy to see him. However, over the course of a few days, he starts acting strange and then he calls Peter asking for help. Peter finds him passed out and the symbiote crawls onto Peter secretly. Peter takes him to the hospital and then has to leave due to a police report of the Wraith being spotted at the docks. Peter leaves and fights Yuri with Miles's help. They defeat her. They don't say what happens directly after this, but apparently the doctors tell Peter he's very sick, and Peter confronts Norman. Extremely angry, Norman notices the anger, which is important for later. This is when Craven shows up in New York and starts watching the Spider-Man. Norman takes Harry from the hospital and he discovers the symbiote isn't with him anymore. And while it was keeping him alive, it was essentially dying itself from Harry's disease, and that's why it left him. Craven, as we know, is essentially just hunting different villains, trying to find a worthy opponent, and nearly kills Miles during a fight. Peter barely gets there in time and stops him. Craven escapes. They don't mention Lizard at all in this leak, which is a little weird, but maybe they just left it out because it's in the trailer. I don't know. Norman, as the Green Goblin, attacks Peter after figuring out he is Spider-Man. He demands Peter give him the symbiote, but Peter refuses and fights him, and Norman escapes after the fight. Shocker robs a bank, and Peter shows up to stop him, but is quickly defeated by Shocker and is saved by Miles. Craven sees this and figures out sound is his weakness. Miles, at this point, is extremely worried about Peter's increasing angst and tries to talk to him. Peter yells at him and says he doesn't need him. Miles starts investigating where the symbiote came from and discovers it came from Oscorp. He sneaks into Oscorp and sees Norman talking to Craven. In exchange for giving Craven and his hunters new tech, including sound weapons, Craven will give Norman the symbiote. Miles tries to tell Peter, but he won't answer his calls. Miles goes to his home in Queens, but Peter isn't there. Peter then gets attacked by Craven and his upgraded hunters, who have new Spider Slayer tech. Equipped with sound weapons, Peter barely defeats them before being attacked by Craven. Peter escapes by entering the sewers. Peter is hunted through the sewers by Craven before escaping again. With help from Miles, Craven decides he needs to get rid of Miles so that he can't help Peter. Miles is lured into a trap by Craven and is almost killed, but makes use of his invisibility to defeat Craven. After this, we see Norman getting injected with something and then putting on a altered goblin suit. Peter gets attacked again. I guess this whole game is just people getting randomly attacked by Norman, once again, as the Green Goblin. Peter has to let the symbiote take full control to defeat him. His look is very similar to Venom at this point. He shatters Norman's helmet, and Norman pleads with him, saying he needs the symbiote to save Harry. Peter grabs his head, trying to fight the symbiote, but the symbiote retakes control and prepares to kill Norman. Miles shows up and stops him using a venom blast. The blast hurts the symbiote, and Miles realizes he can stop him with it. After a fight, the symbiote falls off the roof, and Miles checks on Peter. Throughout all of this game's story, apparently Eddie Brock has been investigating this new black suit Spider-Man, some of which is actually playable. Peter ends up getting him fired from the newly returned Daily Bugle, and when the symbiote falls off the roof, it attaches to Eddie and turns him into Venom. Peter is back to normal and apologizes to Miles. They realize both Norman and the symbiote are gone at this point. Norman kidnaps Mary Jane, and when Peter and Miles show up to save her, he demands they give him the symbiote. Peter and Miles try and explain that it's gone and they thought he had it. Another fight ensues with the Goblin presumably dying in an explosion. Peter decides to see if there are any remnants of the symbiote in him to see if they can find a cure for Harry. Miles and him work together via montage to make a cure and give it to Harry. There is then a fight with Eddie as Venom. Peter tries to apologize to him, telling him the symbiote boosts your aggressiveness, but Venom calls him a liar, telling him all the symbiote wanted was to help him. Working together, Peter and Miles barely defeat Venom. Thinking the symbiote is dead and the police take Eddie to jail. Eddie escapes the prison transport and kidnaps Harry, MJ, Miles' mom, J. Jonah Jameson, and J. Jonah's assistant, and hangs them off of the Daily Bugle. Peter and Miles go to save them and defeat Venom. Venom then disappears and the game is over. It also says that Prowler and Tombstone both appear in the story briefly. Now, apparently there are a lot of side villain missions in this game, including Paste Pot Pete, Big Wheel, Taskmaster, Mysterio, Kingpin, and Sandman, as well as a side mission for Wraith outside of the main stuff you see towards the beginning of the game. Both Peter and Miles have new swinging animations in the game. After fully completing the story, you will be able to play as Symbiote Spider-Man again after losing the symbiote. There are no references to Wolverine in the game, but Daredevil does appear in a mission apparently. I'd assume that that would be in the Kingpin side mission, but it could be in a different thing. There are apparently a little over 150 suits in the game. I'm assuming that most of those are the returning suits from the first two games, but who knows? It does say that Venom is not playable. Black Cat appears briefly in the story and has a side mission as well. The game has 3 post-credit scenes. The first shows Venom outside a hospital window watching as Harry wakes up, telling him they can't wait to see what he becomes. I don't know what that means. I guess something to do with them using the symbiote to cure him. Maybe he becomes anti-Venom or something. I don't know what that could possibly mean. The second shows the Green Goblin sneaking into Riker's Island and talking to Doc Ock. And the final one shows Spider-Gwen coming through a portal looking very similar to the one seen in Spider-Verse. Now, I have no clue what these are setting it up. It could be for DLC or a third game. The Gwen thing could be a spin-off for her similar to Miles, but maybe we could also get a spin-off for Venom. Now, it did say something about the Mysterio side mission boss, but the post was deleted before I could look at that. But apparently, I do remember that it apparently is supposed to be in a school or something. Overall, I think this has an okay chance of being real, but the fact that Venom himself doesn't appear till the end of the game seems weird to me, especially considering he appeared in the very first trailer for the game, and I think that that would be very odd. That would be like if they showed Doc Ock once in the beginning of the trailer instead of Mr. Negative. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have any leaks, you can send them my way, and I'll check them out.